BSSB episode 87. Where tonight we got a special guest with us, Roy. I'll let you introduce himself here in a minute. We're going to sit back. We got some fights going on. We're going to shoot the shit with him. You guys are going to meet him and see what he's all about. So roll one up and enjoy this shit. So we got Roy here. You want to introduce yourself? Let them know who you are, what you're about, where they can find you at, and all that?
For sure. So my name is Roy, like you said. I write under the pen name RJ Honeybrook. Mainly write horror. I've done some crime fiction in there. I also co-host the Midnight Terrors podcast with one of my best friends, Kevin. He's in South Carolina, so we never got to do it face to face. So this is pretty cool to be in the same room podcasting.
Hell yeah.
And then you can find me Instagram, author_Honeybrook. Pretty simple. I'm a one-stop shop. I probably should be more places, but I like to have one central hub.
I get it.
That works.
And then all my work is on Amazon. You can find links there on my Instagram page. So.
Oh yeah.
Nice. So, how long you been writing for?
So fiction writing, I started in the fall of 2018. So right about 6 years.
Oh.
And man, I come from a journalism background, so I'd always written like news stories, broadcast scripts, that kind of thing. But I never really knew how to do fiction writing. So one time I had an anchor. She was like, "You're just really talented at this." And I'm like,
Yeah.
So a couple years later, like I'm just working my normal job, but kind of miserable because all I'm doing is working, watching TV, going to bed. And I started thinking like, man, what else can I do to actually give myself some type of meaning to all of this?
Yeah.
And that's when I found writing. Her words came back to me and I'm like, well, maybe I could try this out. I have no idea how the hell to write fiction.
Yeah.
So I found a young adult author on YouTube. Her name was Kim Chance. And she would just put out these videos like each day, each week about different aspects of fiction writing. So I just binged all her stuff and wrote my first work in 2018. So.
Wow. Nice. No, that's YouTube. Like you use YouTube, I guess.
Yeah. That's why I tell people like the internet's a hell of a tool if you use
YouTube
it to actually
University.
Learn.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I've learned so much through YouTube.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, I fixed like little parts of my cars.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not the greatest mechanic, but like I was like, how do I do this? Like, oh, that's how you get to the headlight. Like when your light goes out and shit, because you don't know sometimes.
You can learn how to do anything on YouTube, dude.
It's
Anything.
wild.
It's just,
We'll go back in reverse though. So where were you like born and raised? Where do you call like home and stuff like that?
Yeah, man. So I was I'm from a city in Altoona I'm from a city in Pennsylvania called Altoona.
Oh, okay.
It's just like this blue collar railroad town full of angry Italians and Irish.
Oh, okay,
so
nice.
That's
some good food and some drinking.
Amen to that. Yeah.
There you go. It's not that bad, I guess.
Yeah. So I grew up there, lived there the first 18 years of my life. I went to college around Harrisburg, the capital there. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I lived with my brother. We just kind of slowly made our way out around Philly. And then 2022 hit and we're like, fuck it, let's go to Ohio. And I'm like, yeah.
Hell yeah. So what did you do to keep busy growing up? Were you in sports, like video games? Like what kept you busy during those days and kept you out of trouble?
Man, sports, my dad tried so hard to make me an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Like my earliest thing was soccer. We did hockey, baseball, football, all of that stuff. I just could not get into any of those. Like I would always fight like the neighborhood kids.
Oh, okay.
So one day, like probably in 8th grade, it was 8th grade, I distinctly remember this day, I'm sitting in the car with my mom, and she was like, hey, I know you're into like Dragon Ball Z, Mortal Kombat, pro wrestling. Would you ever want to like try martial arts? And I was like, whoa, yeah, I would.
Hell yeah.
And I ended up doing martial arts from the time I was 13 until I went to college when I was 18. Then I joined the boxing team.
Shit.
And I just think that's so cool that my mom was so in tune with what I was into and thought of how that could be used productively.
Yeah.
That she would think of that.
So what did you do? What martial arts? Did you do karate? Did you do jiu-jitsu? Or did you do a little bit of everything? Or
So the school I went to was predominantly Hapkido. So it's like a Korean form of Taekwondo. A lot of strikes, locks, holds, that kind of thing. And then on Saturdays, we would do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm terrible at that. if you guys ever want to beat me in a fight, anybody listening, take me to the ground.
Yeah.
That's a wrap. Put me in an arm bar. I'm tapping.
It's your weakness.
Yeah, so if they got them ears, we're not messing with you.
And it was funny because this girl I grew up with down the street, she was one of the high-ranking fighters, I guess, there. And I remember it was like this nice little girl and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, we do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and she would get me in the meanest arm bar. I'm like, where did this come from?
Oh, hell yeah.
Shit.
No, dude, it doesn't matter some of the size and weight. If you know how to do the right technique and shit, you get fucked up, man.
For sure.
Size don't matter. No, that's cool. So growing up, you said wrestling was one of the things.
Oh, yeah.
You still watch today? Who was like some of your? Well, I guess we'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
But who was some of your favorite wrestlers? Like, when did you get into it? Do you remember like who was predominant, or like how old you were when you started watching?
Oh, yeah. My dad would always take my brother to go see wrestling. He was a big fan of Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen in the 80s.
Love Ric Flair.
So whenever we were born, we were pretty much born into it.
Nice.
And I remember having the Ultimate Warrior wrestling buddy.
Okay.
Like we were talking, I was born in the late 80s, so I kind of came around right as that golden era was going on.
Gotcha.
You know, Ultimate Warrior, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Okay.
All right.
But
The
really,
golden era.
yeah, really my bread and butter was the Attitude Era.
Me too. Dude, I'm wearing a Kane shirt right now.
Oh my God. That is so cool.
Dude, I love it. I still watch wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But
How often do you watch? Like every week?
pretty much every week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't. I overlooked it this week, but yeah. I'll be watching.
I watched it growing up, Attitude Era and stuff like that.
Yeah, me
and
too.
then
That was mine.
I fell out for a long while, but then started coming over here. We started doing this. Started podcasting like Saturday nights. Like we're here, there'd be a wrestling on. We started watching them, and then I'm like slowly got into it a little more. I'm not like I don't see everything, but I do stay up to date throughout the week with like BR Wrestling, like on Instagram and different stuff. So I did see like the crazy big headline of this past week of what happened, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Did you see it? I don't want to spoil it if you didn't see it.
On what? Crown Jewel or what?
What happened? I seen in the ring there were some people standing together, and I don't want to say it if you didn't see it.
I don't think I saw. Yeah, like I said, I didn't watch Monday
Okay,
Night Raw
I
or
won't spoil it,
SmackDown.
like,
New
'cause
faction happening?
There's just I don't want to
I
say
imagine something happened.
I'm not saying it because I don't want to ruin it for him because I know he's into it, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
No, like no, I fell off of wrestling for a while, like right around like the John Cena like ruthless aggression era, I guess whatever they were talking about, and but I got back into it in 2016 with the Royal Rumble when AJ Styles came out.
Right.
I was just like, fuck, I got to see where this goes. And I've been back ever since. Royal Rumble was my favorite, so it wasn't hard to talk me into watching it. But
Royal Rumble's always been the most fun because you have 30 guys in there. You don't know who's going to come out next, who's going to get tossed.
For sure.
Always good.
yeah,
And there's always a couple surprises usually, like people they bring back or someone like, oh shit, like
It's Booker
those
T.
are always a cool. Yeah, there's always that cool where it's like, or it's always the sad ones where you're like, damn, this dude's still wrestling. Like there's those every once in a while.
For sure.
But back to you. So like growing up, who like right now, who do you think would be your like top 3 like wrestlers of like all time though?
All time, man.
Or no, like all time, top 3 to 5. We're gonna go big. Like if you had to name it right now on the spot.
All right, well, I was always a DX guy, so I got to put Shawn Michaels on there.
Shawn Michaels is my favorite of all time.
Got to put Triple H on there, man. That guy's longevity.
Love Triple H was my boy after Shawn Michaels like retired for a while.
Such a great heel, also.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude was just such a shit talker, such a menace, just bashing people with sledgehammers.
Yeah,
So I'd definitely throw him in my top 5.
for sure.
Have to put Undertaker on there somewhere.
Greatest gimmick of all time.
One of my earliest memories, my dad has us at this wrestling event. It's probably like 93, 94.
Yeah.
The Undertaker's music hits, and like he comes out and he just looks dead.
Yeah.
I like death grip my dad's arm because I am so terrified of this dude. And we're like up in the nosebleeds, like we were nowhere close to him, but just seeing that aura around him was horrifying to me.
No, for sure. He's the man. I love Undertaker.
So we got Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker. I'll throw Hulk Hogan on there.
Yeah, he's for sure.
Dude was the icon of the 80s.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And
He'd be on the Rushmore.
Oh, yeah. I think to top it off, this is very attitude-centric, but I got to put Stone Cold on there.
Absolutely.
Stone Cold, yeah.
Changed the game. Started, essentially, helped start the Attitude Era, basically.
Oh, for sure.
It was part of it.
That Austin 316 promo, nobody was talking shit like he was.
And even the shit with him and Brian Pillman, that was like pre-Attitude Era stuff.
When he shows up at his house and Pillman has the gun.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That's when I love wrestling, when it's at its most insane.
For sure.
Like, it's cool where it's at now with more of that sports aspect to it.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like MMA, but a little more dramatic or whatever.
For sure.
But man, when there's like dead guys walking around and home invasions, it's like, this is wrestling.
Half naked women in the ring with like lingerie matches and
dude.
casket matches like that. Like
the chance of seeing a titty, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was
always there.
That happened. That happened.
Yeah.
Back then.
But no, that's cool as fuck. So when you were in the fighting as well, did you look up to any like particular MMA fighters? Were you in that? Did you watch like Pride fighting? Mm-hmm. Was it just always UFC? Was there any fighters since you fought as well?
You know, a lot of people would ask me that because I did the martial arts and boxing in college. They'd be like, man, you must be a boxing historian and know all this stuff about it. I'm like, not really. I like wrestling.
Yeah.
I felt like the water boy.
No, for sure. I wasn't a sports guy at all. Mm-hmm. I loved wrestling though, and skateboarding. I was big on skateboarding.
Oh, dude, some of those skateboard and scooter videos in the early 2000s, we found so many good bands through those.
For sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, boxing history, like, my favorite's got to be Tyson.
Yeah, definitely. You're excited for the Tyson?
Oh, yeah.
Paul.
Tyson Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I would just go down a rabbit hole some nights of watching old school Tyson knockout compilations.
Oh, they're the best, dude. That and watching like the post-fight interviews and him talking shit, like just everything about him, like I don't know, that shit was cool. It was fun.
Just recently, actually, like I think it was today, I saw the video. Mike Tyson ran into a guy that he robbed when he was 15, and he was asking for a picture with it, and he told him, like, he was like, "Hey, you robbed me when I was 15." He's like, "Can I get a picture?" He's just like, yeah, like it was pretty fucking great. You'll probably see it eventually. It'll pop up.
But,
how many times does that happen? Meet the guy that robbed you and ask for a picture.
Yeah,
I remember that was like, I remember back in the day, that was like the first like being like disappointment in like pay-per-views and shit, because you would pay like $50 for Tyson fight and the fight would go like a minute.
Yeah.
And like everyone would get so hyped. Everyone would have a bunch of people over, and then the whole party base was over in like 30 seconds because that was the fight.
Do you guys prefer something like that, or would you like to see it go the distance, go to the judges? Because I like a good fast knockout. I think those look so cool.
Like,
I guess it depends on the fight, really.
Like,
if it's somebody I want to see get knocked the fuck out and just do poorly, yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. But if it's two people that I've been waiting to see fight because it's a good matchup, I'd like to see a banger with like maybe a knockout in like the third, maybe fifth round, depending on.
I don't know. I would almost rather see a good overall fight where you're like, that highlighted their skills, like that maybe went to the ground, there was stand up, but it was action the whole time.
Yeah, that's
true. Everyone loves a knockout. Everyone loves the home run. Everyone loves the long ball. Of course, that's sports. But I don't know. I appreciate the 3-round banger that goes the whole way, and you're like, damn, those dudes fucking laid it out there.
You'll be like speculating like with your friends and shit about like, oh shit, I don't know who's gonna win this one.
Yeah, and like both dudes are bleeding. They put everything they had into it, and it's like, I kind of like that a little bit more. I think
I've changed my answer.
So growing up, what shows did you watch? Like any cartoons? I know you said, I think you said like Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, that was a game changer.
Was it always anime? Or did you?
I used to be a huge anime nerd before it was cool. Like now you see the shit everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Got made fun of for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, it was just so different than what we were used to over here. Like you had these Superman cartoons that would be like, here's the villain of the episode, and then they'd beat him. But in anime, you had these long-term stories, and fights would last like 20 episodes.
For sure, it's well thought out. Like yeah.
And Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop was up there. One of my all-time favorite shows.
Oh, yeah.
Other stuff we'd watch, I always remember watching like Tales from the Crypt, the X-Files, stuff like that with my dad.
Tales from the Crypt.
Power Rangers was a big one too.
Dude, I love the original. I love Mighty Morphin.
Right. After that, it kind of got a little too.
Well, I kind of grew out of it too.
Yeah, and then they were going to space and stuff. And it's
yeah,
like, man, let's keep it like a high school kid thing here on Earth.
No, nobody will beat Kimberly, my first love.
Right, mine too. I think that was a lot of guys' first crush.
Yeah.
It's like that's how we found out we like girls. Yeah. Kimberly the Pink Ranger.
No, so now, do you in like writing? Do you revert back? Like, I guess I don't know if I should start with this question about your writing because I'm trying to like, I don't want to ask question C before I ask question A here. But like, do you ever? I guess I'll just ask. Do you ever revert back to like some of watching those shows or like that like inspire like thought? I'm not gonna say maybe like an idea, but like inspire thought or a way to go in like your process of writing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like to some of those shows you used to watch back when you were younger.
Yeah, definitely. Especially talking about the anime stuff, those longer stories, all the very character driven too. You would get to know these characters. They'd have these crazy backstories. So I think that in itself really drives my style of writing. Okay. Very emotional, character driven stories. And somebody brought up too, I never realized it, but they're like, do you think pro wrestling played a part in that too? Because same deal. Yeah, very character driven, very story driven.
Long time storytelling.
Damn, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, because I mean, like you said, like, well, no, that's crazy. Because like I was never big in anime, but like you said, like a fight could go 20, 30 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's wrestling, episodic TV.
You see a feud or a fight go on for a year, 6 months until a pay-per-view finally or something. Like that's I never thought of that. That's
maybe longer sometimes, dude.
Look at Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. They first fought in what, like 97? That rivalry carried on until 2010.
Yeah, like no, that's
even recently. Roman Reigns held the title for like 2 years.
That's right, yeah.
And they built up that story for 2 years, and it paid off.
Yeah, because Cody fought him at the first WrestleMania, lost. Yeah. Then it was all about the comeback. Then he finally faced him down at the next WrestleMania and beat him. I love stuff like that.
For sure.
It was like a Rocky movie in real life.
Yeah.
So in your writing, have you what is like the to start, like, so you finish a book and you're going to start another book. I'm sure you have an idea of already where you were going or with your theme here. Mm-hmm. Like, what's your creative process of like starting that? Where do you go to really, what do? Do you sit in a room and you got some music playing? Do you go on a walk and go in nature? Like, how do you get started to like get that ball rolling?
Yeah, you kind of hit on both.
Oh, really?
I
okay.
do.
Yeah, I don't know. I hear different things from watching podcasts, what people do. Mm-hmm. And that's like, to me, that's like almost two things I would probably do. Because like I see myself doing those things when like I just need to relax and almost get away.
Oh, yeah.
And like clear my mind. So those are the two that like I would probably, that's why I mentioned those.
Yeah, just thinking of a story, I usually start by thinking of a specific scene. And I'm like, this seems kind of cool. Like, two people lost in the woods trying to find their way out. Then I build it out of there, almost like a spider with its legs coming out. Yeah. So here's the scene. Okay, how did they get there? What's going on? What's their story? What kind of horror can I add to this, being a horror-centric guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, it just kind of starts with that, and that can come from anywhere. But to really help me think through where I want to go with these stories, definitely I do most of my work at night. Dark room, maybe like a dim light, listen to music, just start typing, see where it goes. You mentioned nature too. I love going hiking just because when I'm out there, it's like I can shut off all the noise in my brain, even if it's just for an hour. Mm-hmm. And if I want to zero in and focus on a specific topic, like a story, where I want to go with it, I think nature is a great place to do that because you can just be out there with yourself and your thoughts.
For sure. There's like the uncontrolled sound, of the weird little, like you can just tune out.
For sure.
For sure, I like that.
And I think there's something too about getting back in touch with like human roots because we came from that stuff.
Yeah.
Like we weren't always in apartments and houses and skyscrapers.
Yeah. So
just getting back there and being out there with all the elements, I think, is really cool and kind of takes you back a little bit, even though you might not realize it.
No.
You know, you ever hit up? I'm sure you have, but Hocking Hills, how often you go there? That's a pretty dope-ass place.
I've been told about that a lot. I've never made it down there yet.
You never went yet? Oh, man, you got to go.
I've never been, but I've seen a lot of like pictures and videos of it. It's real fucking nice.
It looks beautiful.
Oh, if you're a nature guy, you definitely got to get there and take a book and write some things down because that shit is... It's mind-blowing. And it's cool there because you lose self-service.
Nice.
So you're touching on, like, you're not getting bothered. You ain't getting a text. You're not getting shit on your phone. So
yeah,
it's nice to have.
That's how I like it, too. When I go to a new place, it's one of the coolest things because I just take a map my hiking kit, and I shove my phone in my back pocket just in case fall and break a leg or whatever. But I love to be out there just on my own. And it's like I have a map, I have a compass, I have like my knife, and we're either gonna find our way out of here or we're not. It's very cut and dry. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Sure.
Teaches you a lot of self-reliance.
No.
Now, has your writing taken you to places because you needed to put you felt like you needed to put yourself there to truly understand where your writing was going to go, to like almost feel authentic, like maybe somewhere where you didn't think you would go, like how you say you go in the woods and maybe create a story about two people in the woods and how they got out of you. One of your writings led somewhere and put you somewhere?
So a lot of my writing is based on situations I've been in.
Oh, okay.
So that example of two people lost in the woods, that comes from a time when I first tried to go hiking in a legitimate forest on my own. I left around like 5, 6 o'clock in the evening.
How old were you at this point, sorry?
Oh, this was only like 5 years ago.
Oh.
Too old to be doing this shit.
Too old to be doing this shit. No, perfect. That makes for a good story. So.
And I went out there, and just the kind of guy I am, they have these different trails, and the main one people would go to was the hill trail.
Okay.
Well, this hill was like a mountain, man. Like I've always been into weightlifting and cardio and stuff like that, but hiking up this mountain, it was a different ball game. Like my quads were on fire, my calves were burning. So I get up there, and there's a couple people, and sun's starting to go down. It's this great view of the Pennsylvania countryside. I'm like, this is so cool right now. And then as I'm going back down into the woods, I didn't realize it gets a whole hell of a lot darker in the woods than it does on top of the mountain.
For sure.
Real quick.
Blocks all that shit out.
So I'm just like going down and down. It's getting darker and darker. I'm like, oh shit. Like, what am I going to do? Luckily, it was still light enough that by the time I got back on the main trail and knew where I was going, I was able to find my way out. But no shit, I was running out of there because it gets dark in there, and every little thing you hear, it's like, man, what was that? Was that a ghost? Was that a murderer? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I've been worried about animals. We got coyotes in now.
Dude, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Bears. There's a couple bears down south.
Been spotted around. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple that's made it up this way here and there. But yeah, we got bear coming back up this way through like West Virginia and stuff every once in a while.
Not to mention fucking Bigfoot, the Jersey Devil, fucking
Mothman. Yeah, Mothman.
Man, I was just down in Point Pleasant this year.
Oh shit!
Checking out all the Mothman stuff.
Oh yes. So you do? I'm guessing horror movies. You're into. So Halloween, you probably loving the fucking. We just passed Halloween season. Do you get into the Halloween shit, like costume and shit? What'd you go for this year?
I didn't do the costume, but my brother's big into this stuff too, and he bought these like 7-foot tall animatronic clowns and put them outside of our house.
That's scary.
And we live in like a retirement community, and these things are just like going off like, I got your children. It's like, dude, people are gonna think we are out of our minds over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween's always cool. I've always liked going trick or treating, going to Halloween parties. But yeah, horror movies. Man, in high school we would watch the shittiest ones we could find.
Yeah.
We had these boxes of DVDs. One was called Tomb of Terrors. The other one was like Crypta Creep shows. Just like these movies made with zero budget, probably student films, just garbage.
Yeah,
but they were so much fun to watch with a group of friends because you could just pick them apart and make fun of them.
Yeah.
And then after joining the Midnight Terrors podcast, I'm watching at least one horror movie a week. And that's really cool because people will send in suggestions, and it leads me to movies that I normally wouldn't watch or haven't seen or never planned on seeing. So I'm getting not only to see these, but I can also look at these movies. Did I like this movie? Okay, why did I like it? Is there anything I can take from it for my writing?
For sure.
Yeah.
Is there something I didn't like? Okay, maybe I won't focus on that in my stories. So it's cool because it's just fun to do with good people. And then at the same time, I can put my examination hat on and really break things down to see what I like and don't like about it and how I can use that.
No, I like that. I got a suggestion for you. I'll actually give you a copy of it before you leave.
Okay.
But I got a whole box of Bruce Campbell's Man with the Screaming Brain on DVD. So I'll let you have one of those.
Right on, man.
Yeah, my dad had like a whole box of them for some reason, and he died recently, so I took those, and so I've been just giving them to people.
Tell them about listen to this shit. This is the wildest part. Tell them how many of the. I won't even just tell him about the other. You know what I'm talking about. Tell him this.
He also
All right, well, tell him why.
had,
Explain a little bit of the background though for it.
okay, no, but I mean, he also had 1,400 copies of Men in Black 3. On Blu-ray, the Walmart exclusive. Yeah.
You get one of those too.
Yeah.
How do you have
which
so
it's
many?
not that bad. It's better than Men in Black 2, in my opinion. But I got a bunch of them. I'll give you one of those too, I guess. But yeah, he did a show in Branson because Branson's like a big tourist city. Mm-hmm. And he used them as giveaways. And I guess he got them on eBay for 1 penny a piece. So he spent $14 on 1,400 copies or more, maybe. I don't know. That's just how many I had. I don't know how many he gave away or went.
He may have just gone for 2,000.
Yeah, he might as well. 20 bones. But yeah, that's that, I guess.
So yeah,
it's quite the collection of one movie.
yeah, too many.
So I'm not really like I'm not a huge horror thing, but like, what would be your top like 3 or 4 horror movies that are like mainstream, I guess, because you know a lot of like ones that a lot like
sure
you can name shout on it, but like ones that like I would know. What do you think? What are your like top 3 or 4 of those?
I really like the Rob Zombie Halloween movies.
Okay.
The ones he did.
I have seen a couple of those.
Yeah, so he did the Halloween remake, and then he made Halloween 2, which was very much his own thing.
For sure, I've seen them.
It's so off the rails. I can't help but love it.
It's very different. A lot of people don't like it. Like a lot of fans of the old Halloweens. Like my buddy, I don't know if my buddy does or not, but I'm pretty sure he does. And my buddy Jeff Hughes, shout out to Jeff Hughes, not a fan of those. But no, I didn't mind it. I'm not a huge horror guy. I like horror. Like I like the classics. Mm-hmm. But like I really don't have like that much of a like passionate opinion about them. You know what I mean?
For sure. And there's definitely hit or miss ones. Like you get a franchise like Halloween. I think it's close to 15 movies in that now.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some bombs.
And you're gonna have
definitely.
You're gonna have some critics too. But
I always liked Jason Voorhees was always my favorite slasher guy.
Okay.
Just the idea of that hockey mask and the machete, like such a cool look.
And he's always so big. He's huge. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do make him seem like. Was he a big actor, a tall actor, or was they just make him look super tall and like?
So I think it was like the mid to later ones, there was this guy named Kane Hodder that played him. Okay. And yeah, this dude is stacked and jacked. Like he looks like a wrestler.
Okay.
Like he looks like he could break someone.
Yeah, because I know camera angles can play tricks, but that's cool that they actually got a big ass dude playing that shit. That
For sure, yeah, it's probably cheaper than like upsizing everybody
for sure.
But
getting those lifts in the shoes. I
liked I don't know if it hurt, but I like Saw. Like the shit where they would torture and like that shit would be fucked up. I like them type movies.
Yeah, no, the first two were good. I didn't see
because to me that's more real. Like that shit probably goes on. Like that happens.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like this dude coming in my dreams and killing me. Like, yeah, it's a good story, but like, I like that shit. That's like, yeah, that probably goes on somewhere. That's probably fucked up.
Yeah, that's the kind of horror I kind of not necessarily that, but I'm just like horror that's more believable, or like it's based on something that like could happen or did happen, like if it's true.
Yeah.
Or like there's something cool to it.
Yeah.
You know, like some unique thing or some spin that makes it kind of different.
Like Silence of the Lambs. A lot of people say Hannibal Lecter in that. A lot of people like him because he's such this cool serial killer persona that actually could exist.
For sure. That's why I like the more real type horror films like that shit where I'm like, oh, that dude probably does exist. I like that.
But I also like well done, like weird things too, like ghosts and like that kind of like.
I love ghost stories.
Yeah, like demons and shit, like stuff that, you know, isn't necessarily like believable for most people. But
you ever gone ghost hunting?
No, see, that's one thing. I've had friends that do that. I'm like, you guys go do that. I'll just write about it. Because, like, man, I'm not trying to get my soul damned for eternity.
For sure.
I'm not overly religious. I'm not overly on the other side. I'm just like, I don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
But if there is...
I ain't fucking with it.
Right, yes.
You're not trying to bring old Eleanor, the lady from the 20s that died, home with you so she can hang out with you?
Yeah.
That's
or whatever's attached to her?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I have about, like, always... Like, I do want to go ghost hunting. We talked about it before. Like, I want to find, if there is, anybody watches this shit, if you're a ghost hunter and will take me, if he'll go to, Mark as well, that will let us smoke weed when we go. We got to be able to smoke weed. That's because it's the podcast. We got to at least smoke one blunt while we're ghost hunting, and that's all we got to do. But I want to go.
You guys got to do that live.
or some, yeah, we'll do it
probably
live.
figure
I
that
don't
out.
care. I just want to do
Grab
it.
our
I
phones.
enjoy ghosts. I think they're real in
Yeah.
the spirit realm, whatever it is. But I want to go somewhere because I don't know. I just want to do it. It's like a bucket list thing for me.
I would
And I think it'd be
watch that.
cool as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got really high and saw a ghost. That's a
Yeah.
good ass story.
Like I'll probably eat some shrooms too. Like I'm going to make this adventurous.
That taints the ghost hunting because everybody's just gonna think like, nah, he's just on true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
You know
I'll
what I
just
mean?
do it high because then it's normal. But yeah,
Exactly.
but yeah, I do want to go ghost hunting for real. That should, I think it'd be fun.
There's a lot of creepy, supposedly haunted places in Ohio, isn't there?
For sure.
I've been recommended YouTube videos of like these places I won't go in Ohio or best haunted places to visit.
Yeah, we watch a lot of those. There's a lot of dope. There's a lot of shit in Ohio. Like if you deep dive like on cool shit to see and go do. There's like, you ever seen Serpent Hill?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the Serpent Mound. It's like a snake thing that's
Yeah,
been
here,
there
I'll show
for
you
like
this shit on my phone.
thousands of
Mark
years.
will put it
Okay.
up there for the podcast for everybody.
Yeah,
But I'll search it up real quick.
It's called Serpent Mound.
the Serpent Mound. Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess if you stand at certain parts of it and look out, like it's like perfectly calculated for like the different equinoxes and shit.
What?
Yeah. Graham
did-
Hancock talks about a lot about it.
Do they think it's man-made?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Some ancient civilization made it.
But like, yeah.
Oh, I have seen this. I never knew it was in Ohio.
Yeah, so it's in Ohio. It's probably like an hour, or it's probably like 2 hours from you.
Damn.
But yeah,
That's not
like you
really
said,
a
Grant,
haunted place. Though.
it's not
But that's
haunted. I'm just
cool.
saying it's just like a cool
Yeah,
thing though. That
That
was
would be
like,
cool to see.
if you're into that kind of shit, like I don't know if you watch like Ancient Aliens and different shit like that. Like you said,
Yeah.
Graham Hancock talks about it.
Ancient. He's not doing aliens, but Ancient Apocalypse is the one on Netflix that he has.
Ancient Apocalypse.
That
that's
just
right.
came out, right?
Yeah.
Or new season or something.
Yeah, I like that show.
I
Like-
think ancient civilizations are fascinating.
Oh, me too. That's probably like my favorite conspiracy. I guess it's just like ancient, like advanced civilizations, and them being like way more advanced than we thought they were. Not necessarily more advanced than us, but more or less like us.
My thing is, I think they were on our level, but just in different ways.
Yeah.
Like somebody built those pyramids and they didn't do it with a crane.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they had different circumstances. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was just a bunch of dudes that just like carried these big. It's too perfect.
Slave labor is what they
It's-
say it was.
It was too perfect. They're too big. Like, I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box, but it doesn't look good for that argument.
Right.
Yeah, and to hold up this long, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at Stonehenge also. Each one of those stones is like weighs as much as a tractor trailer.
Yeah, and it's all lined up with like certain shit.
Yeah.
Like they think it was like an observatory, but if they had like something like that back then and knew all that, they were clearly more advanced than everybody thinks they were. Like,
For sure.
or at least had a lot of knowledge about that shit.
Yeah.
And who knows how many just are lost to time. Like there could be races of humans long, long ago that we didn't even know existed
For sure.
that were doing crazy shit.
Yeah.
I just think it's weird. Like we don't even know where humans came from. You know, you have religion that says God made us here. Then you have
Yeah.
science that says, well, we evolved here.
Yeah, which and like the science has just as many holes as in it as religion does sometimes. So like it's you don't really know what to believe. It's crazy. And I think like some of it's truer than we think. Like I think there probably was like weird creatures and stuff before that like don't exist anymore. Not like dinosaurs necessarily, but like I don't know. I just think we don't know everything that we think we know, and there was probably a lot more going on back then.
Oh, for sure. I think there's a lot of shit that's just.
Even if you go like with the Bible and shit, like there was a movie called Noah with Russell Crowe, right? That pointed out a lot, and it was about like Noah's Ark and shit. And it pointed out a lot of things I never thought about with the Bible, like the fact that like if God had all the animals like come to the ark and shit like that, like a lot of them would have got picked off along the way and would have never made it. So like there's probably crazy if that's all true and shit. There's probably crazy animals that we never knew existed because they got picked off or didn't make it.
Yeah,
to the
only
ark
one
and
of them made it.
and that was like
didn't.
something they showed in that movie that I was like, that's interesting. I never thought about it like that. Because they had like deers with like scales and shit, or just like I don't know, like they had weird animals. I was
That
like,
is a
that's
good
crazy.
point. Like not all the animals made it on board.
Yeah, like and like even I don't know. It's hard to explain because I'm high too. But like,
Yeah, no, I get it.
Have you heard of the Book of Enoch? Speaking of the Bible, there's some crazy shit in there.
Yeah, they have all kinds of, what do they call it? Apostasies or something like that.
Yeah.
The Nephilim, dude.
Giants.
That's what I think. Like, I think there was a lot more shit going on back then than we even realize.
Oh, I watching. You introduced me to the Y-Files.
Oh yeah,
I love that shit.
That's a great show.
And watching the Y-Files,
like
like diving into that show over the last like
few years.
Like I would say more over the last like year for me that I've personally like dove into it. I'm like, if there ain't shit on, I was like, I'll go watch the past Y-Files because like they're all fucking interesting. And that shit, I think there was a shit ton more going on. Like,
yeah, and I think a lot of it's hidden from us and it's known.
Yeah.
Like the Knights Templar destroyed like all of Alexandria's library.
I was gonna say Library of Alexandria. I mean? Yeah,
we lost so much knowledge, and I think some of it's hidden from us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at the Vatican archives. They say those are like miles long, just full of stuff they don't release.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
So much out there. It's just wild to think about. And we're only here, 70 years maybe? There's no way we could comprehend just what all was going on in the millennia before we even showed up.
Absolutely. Yep.
So to kind of steal one of Mark's questions, talking about that, where would you go in the past if you could go to somewhere and figure out something exactly? Like if you could time travel back.
And figure out like why
like if you could say like, oh, I want to see how they built the pyramid, or I want to see how this was, where would you go back and like want to know the exact answer?
I think I'd want to go back to when the first human came about. Because like I was saying, we have no idea where we come from, and that's just so weird to me. That's
kind of was my answer on one of the episodes. Is I'd go back and just I don't know what time back. I guess before the Younger Dryas period, as Graham Hancock likes to call it, which is like 12 to 13,000 years ago, before like a giant flood made catastrophe, and there were supposedly like ancient civilizations like Atlantis and shit like that. And I don't know, before like Pangea, almost like when there were more continents on the planet and shit.
And Pangea was just like the latest version of that thing. It's broken up and came together so many times.
Like that I would go back to like that time. Was always my answer for it.
I'd probably just like to see just age-old question how they built that pyramids and shit.
Yeah,
like I would probably just go there and be like, I just everyone wants to know. It's always brought up. Let me be the guy with the answer.
For sure.
But like you were saying too, Atlantis. I would love to go back and just see, was it there? Exactly. What was it like? What kind of technology did they have? How did they live? What was their civilization?
For sure.
Yeah, because I remember I forget his name. I'm not going to remember and shit like that. But there's that dude on Rogan that had that. Did you remember how they said they thought they found it with like the overhead map and it's shaped like the mound and like
Jimmy Corsetti. It's a YouTube channel called Bright Insight, and he thinks that there's this place in Africa, in like northern Africa. It's called the Eye of Africa, and it's a bunch of concentric circles. Mm-hmm. Just like it's basically exactly like Atlantis is described. There's even like salt deposit from when there used to be water there and shit.
And it's a desert now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
it was crazy. Dude, it blew my mind watching that episode. I was just like, what the fuck?
There's evidence of a catastrophic event that happened during the Younger Dryas period. And if you look out at a map like Google Map, it looks as if like a long time ago it was just washed through. You can see like water erosion all throughout the terrain.
Wow.
Like, and it was destroyed by a massive flood and shit. Like, it looks pretty nuts.
Well,
seems likely.
And too, think about the Ice Age also. How many species didn't make it through that?
Yeah.
Through everything. That'd be cool to go see like back then, like all the crazy animals, no matter what period you went to, you would see so much wild. You'd be like, what the fuck is that? There'd be just some random shit, fucking flying down or some big ass thing just
woolly
walks
mammoth.
past you, just like you're shitting your pants, but it's the nicest thing ever. It fucking just looks at you and just keeps going.
There's like giant insects and shit.
Giant
praying mantises. That's like the most terrifying thing.
That is. Yeah, because they're big on their own, let alone seeing like a human size one.
Yeah.
And they're fucking strong, man.
Dude,
they could take down something way bigger than them.
That's nuts. So I want to go back to when you said you sit in a room with music was one of the things. What music do you listen to when you sit in that room?
Yeah, that was a question I was going to ask. Like, do you set up like a vibe when you're writing and shit too?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's usually depending on what I'm writing. So if I'm writing something more on like the emotional side, I'll just put on like some sad boy singer-songwriter acoustic stuff.
Gotcha.
Like super not what I normally listen to. Like I'm a metalhead through and through. That's my bread and butter.
As well.
Right
I like
on.
all sorts, but I love metal.
Mm-hmm. And then like that's my main thing. Like I said, I have a writing playlist with a bunch of sad music on it because I write horror and I don't want them to have happy endings.
Yeah,
And
no doubt.
Yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
it's good to set the mood for that. If I'm writing something that's more maybe sci-fi, futuristic horror, I like to put on some like heavy synth wave, that
Okay.
type of music, like
Gotcha.
real electronic. So it's all about kind of putting myself in that story and in that world. Like what music would be playing if this was a movie? What kind of soundtrack would I want to write this to?
I like it.
But yeah, it's funny because in my normal everyday life, I'm all about the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
Who
he hates
is-
that shit.
Yeah, who are some of your yeah, like bands that maybe who you're listening to now? I'll
Okay.
say like we'll go with it. We'll start with that. Like who's something you're
Yeah.
rocking now or like listen to on the way up?
Your current jam.
Got it. So I always tell people my 3 favorite bands. I think this is a good idea of where I'm at. Johnny Cash, Blink-182, Iron Maiden.
Okay.
And that
Okay.
pretty much sums up where I'm at with everything.
No, I can like all those.
But
yeah, like I could. Yeah, I didn't.
Johnny Cash, I love Johnny
when
Cash.
you said you listen to
Grew up
La La
loving
La, I
Blink.
didn't think that was going to be your like the 3 that came out of your mouth when you said you listen to like that because
Right.
I'll listen to them.
Yeah.
I bounce back and forth. Like I have an appreciation for the deep, heavy screaming stuff.
Yeah.
My brother loves that. I'm all over the place. Like you said, I love all the different genres of
Yeah. I like good music.
it. For sure.
Exactly.
But some of my favorite bands, like I said, in metal at least, Iron Maiden, Children of Bodom. Of course, I'm drawing a blank now.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
definitely.
Dude, Dragon Force, so much fun. The guitar work's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like more of like that power metal style, the uplifting, fight a dragon, fucking
Yeah,
chug
like-
monster.
Oh, gotcha.
I love throwing that on if I'm working out or something. It just gets me so
Me too.
hyped up.
Oh, I'm a huge Coheed fan, and they're all kind of about that. So,
Coheed, they were like one of those earlier metalcore bands, right?
so
Their guitar
yeah,
work was
kinda.
pretty-
They were kind of a band apart from any other. Like,
Yeah.
It reminded people of Rush a little bit, but like a little heavier. But yeah, because they had a real higher pitched singer and shit like that. And it's all like space prog, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember hearing their one song on, I think it was Rock Band or
Yeah,
Guitar
Welcome
Hero.
Home, yeah.
Some great guitar work in that band.
Yeah, for sure. No, I've loved them forever. But yeah, they're kind of that style, like real epic sounding
Right.
music.
Got to have the 7-minute long songs.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything needs a solo.
Yeah.
So you ever seen any of those in concert? And if so, like who some of your favorite concert you've been to?
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, if you want to talk concert memories, we'll be here all night.
Oh, I didn't know if you're like you a huge concert goer and stuff, or
I used to be. I still go now, but we used to live when we lived around Philly. There was a concert venue about 5 miles from us, and
Oh,
they would
nice.
just constantly get bands we wanted to see.
Nice.
And like it would just be a random Friday night. And we'd be like, hey, let's check, see who's playing at the Reverb. And if it was anybody we were remotely interested in, we'd just catch an Uber, drive down, catch the show, drive back. But I remember the one time, this is one of my favorite concert memories. There was this band called Capture the Crown. They were this metalcore kind of electronic band. And at the end of their set, we're up on the balcony and we're looking down on the stage. End of their set, the singer starts climbing up the sound equipment onto the balcony. So we help pull him up over the railing. And he's standing on it. And we're like holding on to him. We're like, you going to come over, bro? And he still has the mic and he's looking at the crowd below him.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I do it, will you catch me? And we're like, yo, this guy's going to jump.
Wow.
And he did. He stage dove off the balcony
wow,
down to the crowd below him. They caught him. It was wild.
Damn.
that's cool.
That's trust. I don't
Yeah.
know any of
Right.
those people down there.
Yeah, damn, that's wild.
They're either going to catch you or you're going to go home in
Yeah.
a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But yeah, just stuff like that. Just the wild. I love the atmosphere at metal concerts. Just the energy, the mosh pits. I try to stay out of them these days because
Yeah.
I'm not 18 anymore.
Exactly.
Oh, but you were in there. You were one of the ones jumping
Oh, yeah.
around it. Yeah,
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
dude. Cool.
Back when I had knees.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so much fun. And, you know, they look brutal and they look violent, but everyone there is such a cool person to just hang out with. And everyone's there because they like a similar interest in music. So
For sure.
yeah, it's always a good time to go to concerts. Anymore, we used to go to like these all day things that start at noon and wrap up at midnight. Man, anymore, if I'm there more than 3 hours, I'm like, we gotta hit the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. You ever met anyone, any of the artists that you do like, or like any of the bigger shows? You ever met anybody?
Yeah, so in college, I worked for a radio station. I was a DJ there with my own show.
Oh, nice.
And I was the metal director. So I would work with different record labels and promotion agencies. So every week I would get the rundown of who's up for an interview from which band, like the time slots, everything like that.
Nice.
If we went to concerts and it was a label I was working an album for, we'd get in free, get the backstage pass, get to interview people. So some of the bigger names, I would say George Fisher from Cannibal Corpse, the lead singer, got to interview him.
Okay, cool.
One of the most initially intimidating experiences of my life, because we get to the venue and I'm like, hey, I'm with WSYC. I'm here to interview George Fisher with Cannibal Corpse. And they're like, yeah, go on back. He comes out. He is just like this gigantic dude with like long hair.
Yeah.
And he's like, how long is this going to take? I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm pissing myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe a half hour, sir. and he's like, oh, all right. Cause if it was going to take longer, we could have gone on the bus. I'm like, this guy's awesome. And
Shit.
he was one of the kindest people I'd ever talked to. Just such a cool, down to earth dude.
That's awesome.
Another one, you might know Whitechapel.
I've heard of them. I've heard the name.
Got to interview their singer at one of their shows. Went up, met him. Man, just a bunch of different bands like that. A lot of phone interviews. Because a lot of times, as a broke college kid, I couldn't be going to all these shows.
Oh, yeah. No, we do them, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why we can't be flying to Texas all the time to go interview someone.
Right.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, just, man, so many guys from great bands I've talked to on the phone, too. Like, did you ever hear Gus G, the guitarist?
No.
So after Zach Wilde left Ozzy, he became Ozzy's guitarist.
Okay.
But before that, he was in a bunch of different bands because he was just known for his musician. I never can say this word. Yeah. Musicianship.
Oh, okay.
There we go. He was such a great guitarist. Everyone wanted him in their bands, but the opportunity came up, and I was like, I gotta interview Gus G.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's cool.
So yeah, I was telling somebody about that before, and I'm just like, I've had a pretty cool life. I got to do some cool shit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, definitely. So in your writing, what have you learned about yourself, you think, the most since you started writing, and like having to dive deep and gather thought and stuff like that, and being out there alone in those situations and in your own mind?
Yeah, that's a good one, because I always say I use writing to pretty much explore things I've been through, where I'm at with everything, really dive into my own head. Scary place sometimes. It's probably why I write horror. No,
for sure.
And I think the biggest thing I learned, like I kind of knew it from fighting, but is just how resilient I can be. I always compare life to, I'm not standing in the boxing ring across from a dude from Army anymore. Like,
yeah,
if I could do that, I can handle whatever life throws my way.
For sure.
But really sitting down and writing and using my own experiences in life and really examining them, whether it's breakups or moving to a new state and not knowing anyone, really just diving deep and trying to figure out, like, okay, well, what am I going through and how can I translate this onto a page? And really looking inside. I think when I look back at everything that has led me to this point, it's really goes back to resiliency.
Nice.
Because I think anybody in entertainment or sports or whatever will tell you they've had way more setbacks than successes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. For sure.
So when I look at some of those setbacks and I'm like, man, we've been doing this 6 years and we've had a lot of setbacks, but we're out here and we're actually doing it. Like, that just shows me that I can handle whatever life throws at me.
Hell yeah, get knocked down 8, get up 9 times. Keep
the old
grinding.
Chinese proverb.
Yeah, dude.
Always grinding. Nope, I like it.
Always grinding.
Yeah, shout out to Andy.
Yeah.
No, hell yeah. And how many books are you like working on, like one book at a time, or are you working on multiple books and like your thoughts just to like break up like being stagnant on one avenue and like getting like stuck? Are you working on like multiple books at one time when you do write?
Yeah. So I do it mainly one book at a time. I'll have an idea, I'll write the manuscript, send it to my editor, clean it up, publish it, on to the next. Now, when I wrote my last 2 that I put out, those were kind of weird. I wrote the first one, or I should say I wrote the second one I put out first. So I wrote that one. I was like, it's not bad, but let me come back to it maybe someday. Wrote another one, put that out, then came back to the one I initially wrote. So that one was kind of all over the place. So by the time that was all said and done, that was like a year and a half. But for the most part, I like to focus on one story at a time. Gotcha. And when I was doing that, I was focused on, I'm writing this one. Then I was focused on writing this one. When this one was done, I was like, okay, now I can go back to this one. So it was kind of like I'm talking about with the music and putting myself in those stories. It's almost like you put yourself in a different headspace for each story too.
For sure.
So for me, it would be tough to be, writing a zombie outbreak story and then at the same time be thinking about, maybe some emotional ghost story. So I like to really become a part of my work and put myself in there in those different headspaces.
Yeah, because you got to write multiple characters and stuff. So you got to, I imagine it's kind of hard sometimes to have to not make every character talk like you would. You know what I mean? Or say the things you would say, Yeah,
that's
like
true.
or to write a character that's dumber than you. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be difficult.
It's funny because you do have to come up with these characters and think about how they would speak. Yeah. And is there somebody in my life like this person? Okay, how do they speak? How would they phrase this? I know in the last one I wrote, half of it takes place in the 1940s. So I couldn't talk like myself at all because to be alive in the 40s, like, hey, how you doing now, Toots? You want a knuckle sandwich?
Exactly. They're not going to say like,
sup, bro?
What's up? Yeah, for sure,
no,
dude.
Definitely.
So that I kind of had an idea how people spoke back then from my grandparents. Like nobody was going around saying like fuck or anything like that. Very respectful, for sure. Compared to our language.
Yeah.
And then just the different phrases. Like before I even started writing dialogue from the 40s, I just went on a couple web pages and I was just looking at different phrases and expressions that were popular back then that people would say just walking down the street, like, hey, want to cut a rag? Like, want to go out and dance?
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
No, I bet the internet's super helpful these days for writers.
Yeah, it's like we said, you can use YouTube University. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for research too. And I mean, when I was writing historically, I'm a huge history guy. Like we were just talking about ancient civilizations. I minored in history. My dad was always big into history. He got us into it from a young age.
For sure.
Half our vacations were just to like Civil War battlefields.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is great as a kid. There's a ton to do. It's like, hey, there's a field.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's weird when you come up with these different characters and thinking how they would act in situations and how would I act in that situation. And it's just weird because it's almost like you're creating people and creating worlds. And
no, that's cool though.
Do you?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Do you read a lot of horror?
I force myself to.
Yeah, not a big reader.
I never used to be. Like my parents always tried to instill that in us.
Nah.
So if we wanted a toy or something, they'd be like, okay, well, what have you done to earn this toy? But if we wanted a book, they'd be like, cool, we want you guys reading.
My parents were similar. Mm-hmm. So, okay. Are there any ones in particular that are easier to read or maybe some favorites that you
I definitely have some favorites. I used to say I was terrible at this because people would be like, what authors inspire you? I'm like, I don't really get that inspired by reading.
Yeah.
I try to make myself read one book a month. I think if I can get that done, we're good.
Yeah.
It is something I enjoy, but like to set that time aside, I'm like, man, I don't have I'm a slow reader too.
Yeah, me too.
So it's like if I set aside 2 hours, I might get 50 pages depending on the book.
Yeah, but I always got to go back and reread because like my mind goes off. I have anxiety, so my mind will just go off sometimes if something's just not quite striking my fancy.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell did I just read? You got to go back a page.
I've done so that, it takes me a little while to get through a book, but I can read a book for sure.
Yeah, and so I try to get that one a month goal, and it's crazy. I see some people being involved in like in Instagram with authors and readers. Some of these people are out here reading like 100 books a year. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm like, shit, how do you have the time?
I know.
I got a job and
you're right.
a podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
But no, for sure.
But yeah, some of my favorites, I always go back to Hemingway. He's probably my top author.
Yeah.
Just because his stories are very much based on his life and his experiences in World War I and the Spanish Civil War. And man, every ending is just that I've read has just been so depressing. And I love that because it's so true to life.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, a lot of times things don't have happy endings. More times than not, they don't. Like, we're all going to die. That's not very happy.
No.
Nope.
No.
The Count of Monte Cristo. Love that one.
I never read the book, but I love the movie.
The one from
It's
2002?
such a good story. The one with...
Caviezel?
Yeah. I was going to say Jesus. I couldn't remember his name. But yeah, that one's fantastic. That's so good.
I mean, it's almost like the classical, or it's almost like the prototypical revenge story.
Oh, it's so good. It's so well written. I can only imagine the book is better. At least that's what they say most of the time.
It was like 1,400 pages. It took me a solid year to read that thing.
1,400 pages?
Because I went with the unabridged version.
Oh, you wanted the full story.
I did. I was like, I'm going to read this thing. I want to read it.
He's in prison for a long time. I imagine they can write about it.
Well, a lot of those older books would come out in magazines each month.
Oh, okay.
So nobody was sitting down reading 1,400 pages.
That's true.
They were sitting down reading, you know, maybe a couple paragraphs at a time, maybe a chapter.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this dude wrote a 14,000 or 1,400 page book all at once. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Serializations. That's what they were. They would come out in magazines and everything. Ben Franklin did a lot of that too, I believe.
Yeah. I imagine it was harder to print and get things out back then too, though.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Now, in any of your books, if any of like your friends or family read it and be like, is this character fucking me? Has that ever happened? Because like you said, you relate things and maybe like how they talk, or have you used something like one of your a slang like only one of your friends use and thrown it in a book or something, or
Easter eggs, as they say.
Or like I was going to ask, or is there any Easter eggs that you have like throughout all your books? Is there like a character or like something you always refer to in all your books or anything like
yes,
that?
Yes, there is.
I like shit like that. Like, because I like how video games do like cool Easter eggs and different things like that.
Like, I don't know if you like Kevin Smith movies, but he's always throwing like inside jokes and random characters.
Okay. What you were saying about a connection or something like that, I always loved the original GTA games. Well, not the original ones, but the ones on the PS2.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things I found most cool about them is they would always tie in characters from previous games.
For sure.
And they would all take place in the same fictional world.
Yeah.
So
the Red Dead games do that as well.
Yep. Yeah, they reference past characters or maybe future characters.
Yep.
I know for me, knowing or playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City and hearing about like Liberty City and all this stuff, and going back and playing 3 where you're in Liberty City and just hearing the different characters referenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just so cool to me. So I do that in my own work.
Yeah.
I have this fictional city called Calypso. It's basically where New York would be.
It's a cool name.
I think so. Yeah. And each book they refer back to that in some sense so that you know it's all taking place in the same universe.
Okay.
And some of it might be in the future, some of it might be in the past, but
that's cool.
Yeah, this is my fictional world that I created.
I love it. Like Tolkien or something. Yeah.
And it's not that difficult to do. I just like, I came from Calypso. All right, we're done.
Yeah. That's cool.
Like there we go, reference dropped.
That's super cool.
Yeah, that's sweet. I like that.
What you're saying about the friends and family too, like my sister's awesome. She's one of my primary readers, which means once you write a manuscript, you want to send it out to a couple people to get their feedback.
Okay.
One of the people I send it to is my sister, and she reads everything I've written and gives me some great feedback. I think she's more insane than I am.
Yeah.
So she can really make this shit more disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
And the one character I wrote, her name was Callie. She was like this dark goddess demon lady. I based a lot of traits off my sister.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
And I was like, did she seem familiar?
Yeah, that's
I'm not saying you're a she-devil, but saying you're a badass.
No, was she insulted when she...
Definitely not. No, she would love to be called the devil or something.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any pets that like you threw their names in any of your stories or anything like that?
I should. That's a good idea. I like that.
I've heard like people do that shit where they threw like their dog's name into a movie or into different things like that.
I do like that idea.
What pet do you have pets now or anything?
So my parents do. They have a cat named Sadie.
Okay.
I like it.
But I was thinking, we used to have 2 cats, and their names were Clem and Finn.
Ooh, those
Those
would
are
be
good
story
names, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe like 2 assassins that are brothers or something.
Yeah,
Clem and
that'd be
Finn.
cool.
For sure. Yeah. No,
Maybe
those
they
are
could
good.
be like redneck brothers.
Look, there it is.
Clam and Finn. Come on,
Look at
Clam.
that.
Just came up with a fucking book.
I like
Just
it.
came up with a book idea.
I will write you guys in the acknowledgements.
Nice.
There we
Nice.
go. No, that's cool as hell. Fuck, that's sweet.
No. He'd be good to do the fictional character questions with.
No, I was just gonna go. I was gonna flip over to. We're gonna go to some of our random questions we like. If you watch any interviews, we like to ask random questions.
We've already kind of done some of them.
some of them, but we're gonna go to
but they
other
were
ones.
just appropriate for the conversation.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, girl, what's your top couple breakfast cereals that you enjoy, sir?
Special K fruit and yogurt.
Oh wow.
I don't know what they put in this stuff, but it is like crack to me.
Oh, really?
I'll get one of those like family size bonus
Yeah.
boxes and a gallon of milk, and I will just eat
Go
that
to-
whole thing at once.
Nice.
Damn.
So
Now,
special.
is that like your whole life? They just come out with that, or like what about as a child? Is it the same thing?
I think the Special K stuff's fairly new.
Okay.
I wasn't really a big Special K fan. I was like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about growing up? Would you rock then?
I remember Cinnamon Toast Crunch was always a big one.
Classic.
And how the milk would get all like cinnamony at the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some of the best milk you could drink after cereal.
it's funny how they did that. I mean,
Yeah.
we always had what was it? Corn Pops, like the yellow chunk cereal.
Yeah.
Corn Pops. Yep.
Yeah, the big ass fucking yellow box.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lucky Charms. Oh my God, childhood
Yeah,
staple.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they sell it now where you can just buy like a bag of marshmallows.
Yeah,
That's
probably.
insane.
It's like diabetes in a
Yeah,
bag.
no
I
shit.
used to hate the other pieces when I was a kid, but growing up, I enjoy them. They're
Yeah.
not bad.
It's a good balance.
Yeah.
What about pancakes or waffles?
Yeah.
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
Yeah.
All right.
Those were always a favorite growing up when we'd go out for breakfast or anything. I'd be like, oh, I found
I
good
know.
pancakes.
I
Now,
love
if you throw
pancakes.
French toast in the mix, does that change?
Ooh. No, I'm a pancake guy, man. I'm
Okay.
loyal. I'm loyal.
All right.
I do like French toast. I'd probably go pancakes, French toast, waffles.
Oh, gotcha. I like it. The ranking system.
There we go.
Burgers or tacos?
Burgers. Nothing against tacos, but if I'm going out for dinner, I'm hitting up McDonald's before Taco Bell.
Gotcha. All right.
My diet is horrible.
Oh, that's all right. I love food as well.
If you could fight any fictional character, who would it be?
I would want to go toe to toe with one of my favorites, Darth Vader.
Oh, shit. So with a lightsaber or just like fucking straight up?
I was thinking the fisticuffs.
Oh,
drop,
shit.
drop the
So
saber,
him.
drop
He's
the
got
force
the
powers.
force. Oh, no force powers.
No, let's fight fair, bro.
Equal fight. I
No,
like it.
I'm not playing that choke game. Like,
All right.
let's go one-on-one, toe to
think-
toe.
He'd be in a disadvantage. You fuck that helmet up. He's probably gonna have a hard time.
That's true. It'd be tough to break though.
That's true.
Like you'd have to
I
have
know
some
it's a couple
force.
pieces. You might pop the fucking plate off or something. But no, that's a good answer.
I like that one.
All right, if you can hang out with any fictional character, who would it be?
Oh man, I immediately thought of the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Oh shit, dude. I love The Big Lebowski. That's my favorite. That's like my favorite movie of all time. It's in my top 5. That Tombstone,
Tombstone. What?
Dogma, That Thing You Do, and Pineapple Express. I think.
Okay, all good ones.
Yeah. But,
Dogma. Yeah, boy, I remember seeing that on like USA or something.
Yeah, Dogma's fucking great.
Because they get an Uzi and blow off an angel's wings or something, right?
Yeah, say it's how Bob. All right, and then if you could have any fictional animal as a pet, what would it be?
Ooh. Man, what are some good fictional animals?
I mean, there's dragons, there's griffins. I
Dragons
guess like
seem
mythical
a lot.
creatures, essentially. Maybe a Bigfoot.
I was
or
thinking about Bigfoot. He seems pretty cool. Like to
Yeah.
have one as a pet though. Like
maybe-
how intelligent
Like, he
are
might
they?
be able to
maybe
chill
even
with
like
you.
characters.
He'd
You
be
know
a-
what I mean?
Would he be
Crack
the
a
guy
beer.
on the couch at that
Right, that's
point?
what I was
Like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
might not want the guy on the couch.
Yeah.
Like I have to feed this dude.
Yeah, like
For sure.
like a dragon. Be like, dude, just go eat somewhere. Go out in the woods. Go get a couple deer or something
Yeah.
like that.
Maybe like a small dragon. Could you imagine trying to like keep a big dragon?
Yeah.
Like it would just breathe fire
What
on
about like the dragon from like Pete's Dragon? You ever saw that?
it. Nah,
The
what was
big
that?
green. It was a cartoon, and then they
Mhm.
remade it recently, and he's just a big green,
Okay.
like friendly dragon. and
Kind of
shit.
like Puff.
yeah, or maybe like How to Train Your Dragon type dragon.
Yeah, those things would probably be decent. You could probably keep them around.
Yeah, like a dragon the size of a parrot. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
But I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Like there's like all kinds of Harry Potter animals you could have and shit, and like.
You know what I do want that's real is one of those capybaras.
Capybaras, yeah, the largest rodents out
Dude,
there.
they look so cool.
Yeah. I don't know how friendly they are, but they'd be cool.
I've seen videos on Instagram. Like, I get recommended these capybara videos.
Yeah, you just get them like an in-ground pool and shit and just fucking feed them some fruit or whatever.
Yeah, they seem so chill.
Yeah.
Like, people are just, like, scratching them and brushing them and washing them.
Yeah, they're just big, like, they look like giant fucking, like, guinea pigs or something. Yeah.
With, like, a bit of a porcupine look to it also.
Yeah,
they're weird looking, but they're so fun. Like, the big snouts and stuff, dude. I want a capybara.
Gotcha. It's not fictional, but it's close enough.
It looks fictional, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, this thing should not be here.
Yeah. Shit. All right, that's the fictional character.
And then, all right, I hypothetically come there and safe back. But if you go to space, I'm going to ask this a little differently because I think you'll have. If you go to space or the ocean, which one would you pick? And I'm going to ask you like a follow up after that for the other part of it.
I like that because it kind of throws a wrench in the mix.
Yeah, because then I think he'll have from talking to him earlier, but we'll go, space or the ocean?
I'd say space.
Space?
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean.
I was an ocean guy.
Both are so unexplored.
Yeah.
Like, our ocean's crazy how much we haven't explored of it.
That's why that's why I picked it. I'm like, man, I just want to go see all like
it's
even for like the little video ones, you see all those little alien fish that like have lights on them now because they had like
Isn't
shit
that
like
crazy?
that. That'd be cool as fuck.
But like the ocean also includes like all kinds of shipwrecks, ancient cities.
Oh,
There's like
that's
200
true.
cities in the ocean, like ancient cities in the ocean.
Like Pompeii.
Like, things that during like what do they call it? Like rotational changes of the earth and shit. Like got just covered with water.
That would be crazy to see. I'd say space might get boring, but I would still do it just because if we could figure out a way to like get to the different planets in a timely manner that wouldn't take an entire lifetime.
Yeah,
it'd be cool to kind of planet hop. Like go to Mars, go to Venus, see what's out there.
Get an idea of what's going on out there.
Yeah, I just think it would be so long in total darkness. You probably wouldn't see much in space now that I'm thinking of it.
For sure. You could probably learn a lot too. Other civilizations, you could probably really get an idea of what the fuck all this is.
Right.
You know?
Like you travel out there long enough, you're bound to hit something.
Yeah.
Maybe something you don't want to hit.
Yeah, you never know.
Shit. Maybe you'll meet God like Bender in Futurama.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
You remember that? That'd be nuts.
Futurama, I was just talking to my buddy. What an underrated show.
Oh, dude, yeah. It kind of got its due later on.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah, at the time, it got canceled, so it was kind of underrated.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone thinks, like, The Simpsons and Family Guy and South Park. Futurama's right up there with those.
Oh,
For
it's
sure.
funny as hell.
I like Futurama more than Simpsons.
It's probably more consistent.
For sure. For sure.
Simpsons kind of fell off there.
Yeah, you
brought
can
it
only,
back
like you
recently.
said, you can only go so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Family Guy.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think it's like I'm going on 40 years now for Simpsons.
Well, South Park, that
Yeah.
one still rocks. I don't give a fuck how long that show.
Yeah,
that show makes me
South
laugh
Park
every
has
time.
stayed consistently good throughout the years.
That's one of those shows that they keep it timely.
Yeah,
And
it's very topical.
right, and the two main guys are still there, right? Trey Parker.
Yeah, they
Matt
still do most of
Soderbergh.
the voices too.
Yeah,
But
'cause
I
they
mean,
had that small documentary how they like make them in a week or something like that.
Yeah,
How-
I forget what it was
construction
called,
paper.
but it was like
Yeah,
it
like
laid
how-
out the timeline.
yeah, that's how they like can stay so on top of things because how cheap like it's actually is to make, and they
Right.
just bust it out in like 3 or 4 days.
and then you have stuff like Family Guy that was hilarious for its time, and then everyone just kept leaving, and new people came in, and
Yeah,
it just those new episodes are rough.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
I'll watch a new one, but I'm just like,
yeah, I fell off Family Guy a
yeah, I
while
fell off a
ago.
lot of those. Yeah, but I'll still watch some South Park 'cause that
And
shit's
all the
funny.
reruns, they played so many of the same reruns over and over again. It just kind of got played out.
yeah, that's true too. Because for a while there, they only had 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, and it was
Did you guys mess with Adult Swim at all?
some stuff like I like Aqua Teen.
Dude, Aqua Teen is so funny.
I liked Robot Chicken. I even enjoyed that I think they were called the Oblongs. It was like that Will Ferrell show.
Was that
with
the one they
weird
were?
looking family?
And they lived at the bottom of the hill, and like the normal rich people lived at the top of the hill. They were like mutant people.
Maybe
They
I
were
don't know.
They were like poisoned by radiation or something from a plant.
I don't remember that part of it.
I
But they had
remember
all
more
kinds
about
of
them than I
fucked up
thought.
shows. And then they had that what was the one where it was like claymation Moral
More
Oral.
Oral, yeah.
Yeah, that one was all right.
There were some funny shows on there, dude. Aqua Teen, I still throw on every now and then and just crack up.
Yeah, they have that's Rick and Morty too, isn't it?
I think they have
Isn't that
that,
Adult
yeah.
Swim? Yeah.
That's one show I never really got into.
I watched like the first 4 or 5 seasons, but I kind of fell off after that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I never watched any.
I canceled Hulu or something. I don't know.
All right, second part of the question: if
Okay.
if you could go to any, like government secret place, what would you pick? Like Antarctica, Area 51.
I was just gonna
like
say Antarctica.
Grand Canyon.
Antarctica, like
Fuck
Grand
yeah.
Canyon, like the hidden spots in the Grand Canyon,
Yeah.
like any of those things. Like, where would you pick Antarctica?
I would do Antarctica
Yeah.
Yeah.
because whenever I'm going through like conspiracy phases or whatever, I always go back to Antarctica because it's such a strange place.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Like
What's
we have,
under there, man?
right? Or like what's behind it? Like
Yeah,
you
Or
can't
who's-
go what more than a mile into the ice wall.
Yeah.
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 It's crazy. And you hear that story, like they're saying that pilot when he flew, that military pilot back in the day, and he was flying that
Yeah.
plane, and
Wi-Fi
he like
again.
on the Wi-Fi's, yeah, and there was like that wide open green area with trees
In
and all
Antarctica.
that different shit.
Yeah, there were Aryan Nazis there and,
Yeah.
and mammoths.
Yeah, crazy
Mammoths
as
were
shit.
still-
Yeah,
and it was warm and tropical.
it was an Air Force pilot or whatever had to do this thing, and he seen all this shit at Antarctica.
No.
Well, I mean, there's stories going back how long about navies going down there and getting attacked by UFOs, or
Yep.
in the 1800s, sailors trying to go there and
Yeah.
being
There's
turned away.
all kinds of weird holes in the ice and shit that are
And I just think
questionable.
I think it's weird too. Like we have a worldwide treaty on this place. Like, how did we come to terms on that yet nothing else?
Like
Dude,
you say,
I say that all the time. I say,
It's like
we
all the
fucking
countries
hate
decided-
each other, but how do we all agree? There's like 47 countries, but we all agree you can't go there, but we'll fucking slash each other for a barrel of oil.
hey,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I say that every time that shit's brought up.
allegedly Hitler went down there and they had bases and shit. So something's going on. They wanted to go there for some reason.
Yeah, and I mean, hasn't it? Like, it's just so weird. I think it was Russia. They were drilling down there, and they found like fresh water beneath the ice, and all of these different like single-celled organisms live down there.
Oh, actually, I think I heard about that. Yeah.
And that was just in the ice wall. But I think too, it's interesting to wonder if that's the border of the world. Like, that's it. This
That's
is where
it.
the world cuts off.
It's the end.
Like flat Earth type shit. Is that what you're talking?
I guess that would be it. Like,
Like the ice wall that's going all around. And then
right? Why
there's
is why is it like that?
what do they call it?
None of that shit would surprise me.
There's a name for it. I can't.
I'm not surprised anymore. Nothing will surprise me.
No, I think they could lie to us about anything. Could be a lie, and I wouldn't be too shocked anymore.
Yeah. It's just weird. We have a continent that nobody lives on, that nobody goes there,
Yeah.
that we have research facilities on. Like, what are you researching if it's just ice? Like, it's got to be something.
It's
down
crazy
there.
though. We had where I went to high school, the physics teacher there. I don't know what program, but this dude was smart as fuck. I'm not the smartest dude, but they have this metal disc they got to move on Antarctica all the time because of like it shifts or something, and it marks like some sort of longitude latitude type thing.
I gotta move.
And he was
Does the Earth wobble or whatever?
something, but they got to move this disc every so often. Someone could look it up eventually, but he actually was one of like the 8 researchers that got to go do this shit, and he has one of those discs
Oh, wow.
What?
he got to go to Antarctica on like he worked for the government too on the side.
What the fuck does that disc do? Oh.
It's just like a marker on Antarctica for something.
That's really cool to have.
No, I know, but I'm just wondering, like, why do they mark it? Like,
I don't know.
It's just a mystery, you know?
You know, there's something to it. I just forget what it is. It marks something down there. But yeah, he actually was one of the 8 researchers. He had a bunch of photos and shit like that. And then he
That's
had
cool.
this metal disc that was literally sat on Antarctica. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
That is cool.
Well, what about too that they think it might be an entrance to the center of the Earth there, like the Earth is hollow,
Could be.
and they think the entrance is Antarctica.
They talk about how, like, there's ancient civilizations that went underground during catastrophic events and shit. Like,
Could be some, yeah, dude. That's, I don't know.
I think the government has tunnels going on, like, way underground and inside of mountains and shit. Like,
Oh.
I think there are, like, underground cities that we don't know about.
I think definitely.
Now, whether or not it's ancient people or it's, like, government shit, I don't know, but there's a lot of evidence for both, I guess.
Oh, I know. Near my hometown, I think it's in Bedford, PA. They call them like the Bedford tunnels. They're old government tunnels that go through these mountains.
Yep.
And there's facility. I'm pretty sure there at one point were facilities and stuff in them.
Oh,
like
shit. Can you go through them now? Or
I think so.
sneak in?
Yeah. I think you can go through them.
Oh, that's sweet.
I mean, I'm sure they're not safe, but I'm pretty sure it's like almost looks like a railroad tunnel opening.
Yeah.
And you can get in through there. Apparently, this was all a long time ago when I learned about it. But
there was a show that Jesse Ventura did in the early 2000s.
Oh, I remember that
Conspiracy theories with Jesse Ventura, and there was an episode all about that. And he went to a mountain that had what looked like a railroad tunnel almost, but you could drive into it. Mm-hmm. And you would go down this tunnel. You could go down this tunnel for miles, and every like mile or two, or however many miles, there was a loading dock here and over here, and then you could keep going, and then there would be other hallways that were or not hallways, but like roads you could turn down, and literally it's just miles inside of this mountain.
It's the elite, dude. That's where they're living. If shit ever really truly hit the fan,
and you're just seeing loading dock and stairs,
like
a little platform, and then you go a little while, loading dock.
That's where all the toilet paper went that one year.
Yeah, right. Went into the mountains.
Went to the mountains just in case.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's wild to think about. I mean, look at like the Capitol and the White House. They all have underground facilities
for sure.
And they're not just some little bomb shelter. Like that.
There's even historical underground cities that have like running water and full ventilations that operated just for events like that. Like all kinds of shit. Like what is it? I think it's called Darren Kuyu or Darren Kuru, one of them. It's under Turkey or something. Some guy knocked down his basement wall and found a tunnel. And there's an entire, I think thousands of people could live and did live in there at one time. Full on.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Shit. It's crazy. And it's ancient.
Mm-hmm. I know. I heard a story. It was, I believe, in the UK. These people were living in their house, and they could swear they would hear voices and banging, and everyone thought they were crazy or whatever. So they move out, new people move in, they hear the same stuff.
Yeah.
They knock out the basement wall, I think it was. Huge underground tunnel system.
The Jews.
Yeah. It's the tunnel Jews.
They didn't know if it was for drug trafficking or human trafficking, but
that's fucking wild.
They went down there and explored and didn't see anything, but people would definitely hear stuff coming from those tunnels.
That's crazy.
Oh, and it's just and look how quick they got El Chapo out with a tunnel. They built that shit quick as fuck.
Yeah.
Look how quick people
they had a motorcycle.
They
down
built tunnels
there.
instantly. The fucking 35 Mexicans went 2 miles in a day and a half.
Yeah, the tunnel was so long that they left a motorcycle down there for him so he could ride out of the tunnel.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They built that shit in a week.
Didn't they pull Saddam Hussein out of a tunnel too?
Yeah.
They had a
little well or something.
They dug a hole, and then there was a little spot where he could lay. And they covered it with trash and shit and brush.
I think I'd rather just get captured.
Yeah,
you know what? This seems like a lot of nonsense.
And there was a little hose or whatever for ventilation so air could get through.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah. Oh. Probably just had a little fucking mini DVD player or something down there, just watching Friends.
Watching Friends, shit, that's funny.
At the time, that's probably would have been.
I heard something fascinating too about Mount Rushmore. They say that, this was a theory that the bodies of the presidents, they're fully carved out inside of the mountain.
Oh, really?
Really?
It's not just the heads. They
so they're kind of just sticking out of the mountain.
Full statues, yeah.
Because I know there's buildings behind it and shit, and even in that movie, National Treasure.
Oh yeah.
They there was something back there they wanted that was worth money or some shit.
Yeah, and in Blank Check. Didn't he go up there too?
Yeah.
I remember that movie.
Yeah,
he went up there. There were some tunnels up there in Blank Check.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff going on at Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think there's stuff going on everywhere, dude.
True, yeah.
We're lied to.
Yeah. I wonder what cool shit's here that we don't know about. That's the fun part.
What do you mean?
Well, they say there's a lot of shit down at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base too. There's shit hidden down there. That's
yeah.
That's right here in Ohio. They say there's shit there that they possibly just as crazy as Area 51.
For sure.
One thing I find weird is why would these Air Force commanders and expert scientists all talk about these aliens and stuff and go on these shows and risk their credibility if there's not something to it?
I think they're intentional whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
They're out there they're either prepping us for a fake event of what do they call them? Like a
False flag.
false flag, yeah. Or they're out there to mislead us about it, essentially. Or hide the fact that they have, well, I guess that would still be a false flag, but hide the fact that it's actually them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. Because I can think a lot of that shit's probably us. Some of that shit. Because, like, I think a lot of the shit people see at Area 51 back in the day, like all those, like, first videos of flying shit, I think that was just us. Some of it.
Experimental aircraft.
Yeah, because like I said, like look at our drone capabilities now.
Well, that was us. That wasn't aliens flying them there, but
No,
I think
but
they were probably harnessing.
Yeah, like people say,
alien
like
technology.
is that alien aircraft they're testing out? Shit. No, I think it was just fucking like drones and shit that were doing cool ass moves that like airplanes couldn't do because like they're 30 years ahead of us.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure,
easily. So like. They're fucking whipping these drones around these crazy ways like we've never seen before. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And it's just like, oh, no, that's just one of their drones.
It makes sense.
Yep.
Because, yeah, if there's a human in there, they couldn't do that. They would pass out.
Yeah.
So maybe it was drones. It's a good point.
That's what I always thought. Now, there could be some fucked up shit there.
I don't know.
But, like, I think some of it may have been, like, experimental shit that we're finally, I mean, drones are just been badass over the last 5 to 10 years.
Sure.
I mean, okay. Like, you remember when Bob Lazar went on Rogan? Mm-hmm. He talked about how whatever the element 151 or whatever it was gave them the ability to bend gravity. So it didn't really affect them. They just gravity just kind of split and went around it.
That's crazy.
So, like, I mean, I guess you could man it as a person if you had that capability, but they would have to like back engineer alien technology or have contact with alien where they gave them technology or told them how. I would think.
I think if aliens have the kind of technology to travel like we think they do, they don't care about us.
No. And you know what I always hate? I always say, I hate the stigma. I'm just putting this out there just in case they're listening. I always hate how everyone says they're going to be bad and hurt us. Maybe they just want to come down and take a seat on the podcast and smoke and just talk.
If
everyone always says they're going to come kill us. Where'd that come from? Maybe
if we're cool. Seeing them fly around and shit like that, that's clearly the case because they're not a fucking attacking.
Yeah, like I just think they might possibly just be cool.
But
cool
I also think that like if I heard about an alien planet out there, I would want to know more about it.
Yeah,
and I would want to look at it. You know what I mean?
If Elon Musk asked you if you wanted to go to Mars,
yeah, it'd be the first man to die on Mars.
Or on the way there.
Yeah.
He'd be like, hey, we sent some test rockets, blah, blah, blah. I want you to be one of the first 10 civilians to go up to Mars. Like, they have a little bubble built already and shit. And, like, you're going to be...
a dome.
Or a dome or whatever the hell they got to have. And there's shit up there. Would you want to go? Say you're not living up there permanently, but like, hey, we're going to send you up there for like a week. Or 2 weeks.
Yeah, go all that way for a week.
A couple months. I don't know.
Just a quick Mars vacation.
Yeah. Like 6 months. Would you do it or something like that?
Yeah, I would do it.
You would go?
I would definitely do it.
Hell yeah.
I think that'd be awesome. That's a once in a lifetime
fully
experience.
Established and safe and like, I would go. And we had a way to get there in like,
yeah,
reasonable time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think I would. If it was like established, I think I'd go up and give it a shot.
How cool would that be to see another planet?
For sure. Absolutely.
What do you think about Elon catching rockets?
I saw that. Wasn't that crazy?
It looked like he just put the video and rewound it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I thought it was. I'm like, wait, is this real?
Yeah, that shit is crazy. He throws them and catches them now. It's the wildest shit ever. I don't know what's going to be next.
No.
I wonder what made him want to come up with that, because for the longest time we just crashed him down in the ocean.
Cost savings.
You can
He's all about the Doge, the Department of Efficiency or whatever the fuck it is.
Elon plays video games. He watches movies. Like, he does so many things that I'm like, how does he have time to do all this shit and tweet all day?
Mm-hmm.
So like, he's kind of a dreamer. I think he's wanting to like have a spaceship and fly it around.
I'm sure. I mean? It seems like it.
I mean, if he's playing
Because
video games as much as he is.
What game was it? Doom or Quake?
Quake and all different kinds of stuff.
He's top 10 in the world.
He plays all kinds of shit.
Oh, on Diablo, what was it, Diablo 3 or 4? He was like one of the top 10 players.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Diablo. Yeah, he's top 10 in the world.
He was a top Quake player back in the day too. He said on Rogan the other day.
But like, how much you got to play to do? Like he said, how much of that you got to play to like
and that's
be that point. Good?
That's crazy. Like he wants to do that, and he's the only one trying to. So like, I'm pretty sure he's just a dreamer. You know what I mean?
Dude, he's digging tunnels underground.
Well, he was. That didn't happen.
Yeah, but he did do one, I think, though. But he tried to dig tunnels and did that shit.
LA stopped him.
And then he's up in space. Like, this dude's fucking... Did you see how many satellites he has?
No.
Do you ever see that video?
Yeah, there's so many.
Oh, my God.
He put a fucking car in space with a spaceman in it.
Wow. Yeah, and on top of that, he's making those electric vehicles. Like,
yeah.
I don't think he sleeps. I don't think he can do all that.
Something.
Play Diablo and so.
Well, he's got fucking autism or Asperger's or whatever, but so he's probably like constantly thinking about shit, just focusing in on it. But he's kind of more of a. I imagine he's more of an idea man these days.
Those what?
All right. These are Starlink.
And that's his company?
Yeah, this is that internet company that provides internet everywhere.
Okay.
Starlink. So, like, you can carry basically a magazine size.
You can get internet
and
anywhere.
It's a little bit thicker. You literally can throw it on the ground and you have, like, 5G internet wherever you want.
What?
Yep.
But look how many satellites this motherfucker has.
Right.
And I always said, like, we just need to pray to whoever that this man does not turn evil.
Oh, yeah, because Starlink will turn into Skynet real quick.
As Americans, we also need to be glad he's on our team.
Yeah. Dude's brilliant.
If he went to China, dude, we'd probably be fucked.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I always just say that dude just we need to keep him on our side because that dude could easily fucking just take over the world right now and just put a shield over us. Like you said, that's Skynet right over us.
Yeah, dude.
Monitoring everything and every movement everybody does.
I invented this death ray and now I'm going to use it on you.
Yeah, just out of the sky, you fuck up and just rays are just coming down everywhere, fucking people up.
Yeah, dude, and Arnold's getting old. He's not going to save us, man.
No, that's crazy. That's funny as hell. So back to you think you got any books coming out here in the next few months? Any Christmas buys?
Oh,
for people?
So I mean, I'm always putting my shit out for free.
It's just for free.
No. So
everything's for free.
So like digitally, you mean?
Yeah. So the way it works is Amazon makes me charge something for my books. So I charge 99 cents. Right now, I just have them in ebook because they tend to be shorter.
Gotcha.
So the last thing I would want is somebody ordering my book thinking they're getting some like 800 page thing and they get it and it's like 100 pages. Like,
all right.
I'm not trying to disappoint anybody like that, so I keep them all digital right now.
Okay.
And I just charge 99 cents because I like to think I'm pretty self-aware of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I'm very much in the phase of just getting my name out.
For sure.
So I just want people to check my stuff out, hopefully enjoy it. If I give it away for free every day, I would. Like,
that's cool. No, people like free stuff, and they're more likely to read it if it's free. I would think.
Right.
You ever think about like putting a bunch of them together, like maybe similar ones of short stories, and putting out like a hard copy?
You stole my plan, brother.
Yeah,
I have that planned for next year.
Nice.
I'll
buy it. I'm a hard copy kind of guy. As you can tell.
Too. Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah,
a lot of people are. And I think when I do that, that'll help get me to the next level. I know reading's weird. It's one of the few things where people still demand physical media. I can't tell you how many people have asked me, do you have the physical copies out? And I'm like, nah, it's just digital right now. And they're like, nah, well, I only read hard copies. Yeah. I'm like, I get it.
So I won't only read, but I'll purchase hard copies over digital copies.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Absolutely.
But
I always enjoy the hard copies, too. Yeah. Like, if we have an author coming on our podcast or something and I haven't read any of their stuff, I'll pick up the ebook quick and just kind of skim through, try to get like the main points of it and be like, okay.
For sure.
Other than that, man, yeah, give me a paperback, hardcover, whatever. I just like having it in my hand, and I don't know, you just feel accomplished too when you see the bookmark like getting further in and further in. You're like,
for sure.
I'm doing work.
And I just like having collections of,
Sure. Yeah, man, my library, I love it. I have a I have a bookcase filled with just fiction, and then a bookcase filled with just like history and autobiographies.
Nice. I like it.
Like I said, it'll take me a while. I'm a slow reader, but we'll get there.
Yeah, no doubt.
I love it.
Now, do you go to any conventions or any do you go anywhere where people can meet you? Like, do you get how they have horror conventions? Do you ever anywhere you got anything coming up where anybody can go find you, or you're going to be somewhere?
So, not really. I did have a pretty cool experience probably 2 weeks ago now, before Halloween.
Okay.
I'll tell you guys about that. I'm not big name enough to be at conventions shaking hands, kissing babies, but
yeah,
I'll go and walk around.
Well, that's what I mean. If there was any coming up, or you'd be walking around where they could maybe see you.
Not that I have plans. I will say we went to Horror Hound down in Cincinnati, me and my friend who's also a co-author, ZC Kroll.
Okay.
Or a horror author. And it was so cool being down there, because 2 or 3 times I would lock eyes with a dude and we'd be like, do we know each other from Instagram? I think we've talked and done written each other before. And I'm like, oh yeah, this one guy, he's a fellow horror author. I'm seeing this dude that looks just like him walking around. I'm like, are you Anthony? He's like, yeah. Are you Roy? I'm like, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
And there were a couple times that happened, and it was so awesome just to meet these guys in person and be like, oh my God, I feel like I've known you a year and haven't met you until now.
Yeah, no, that's cool as hell.
For sure.
And then, man, I had a crazy opportunity, like I was saying about 2 weeks ago. I hosted a celebrity ghost hunter interview on stage at a film festival in front of 100 people who were all producers, directors, actors. So I get a call. Well, not a call. I get a message that Friday morning, and I'm friends with a woman who owns a PR and marketing agency focused on horror. And I've worked with her in the past on my own books. And she hits me up. She's like, hey, do you happen to be in New York? I'm like, no, I'm trapped in Ohio.
Yeah.
She was like, man, that's too bad, because we're looking for a host for this Celebrity Ghost Hunter Q&A at this film festival. I'm like, I can be in New York. So
cool.
I hop a Greyhound. I go out to New York, and dude, it's crazy. I call up the lady who's organizing it. And I'm like, do you have a bathroom stall I can get changed in or whatever? I just rolled off a Greyhound. Yeah. She's like, yeah, we have a green room for you. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah, no, that's cool as hell.
Hell yeah.
And then, just meeting all the people there. There were people from a TV network. I met the ghost hunter. Dude was so chill. His name's Mustafa Gadalari. He ended up giving me a ride back to the Port Authority.
Oh,
I was able to catch my ride. And
hell yeah.
What an awesome experience.
That's cool as hell.
So that was, to me, not only was that a great experience, but a lot of people, when I go on different podcasts or whatever, they're just be like, man, you're out here, you're writing books, you're making a name, you're doing it. And it's always cool to hear, but I never really felt like it.
Yeah, no, that's sweet.
I very much felt like a dude who just writes some funny stories in Ohio.
Yeah.
And then when I was out there in New York doing that, I was like, damn, maybe I am doing it. Maybe I am making progress in this crazy stuff. So
No, you are doing it. It's just you don't feel like it's. I think it's called an imposter syndrome. Or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just weird, because I look back at the stuff I've done and I'm like, man, that'd be really cool if it wasn't me. If somebody else was doing that I knew, I'd be like, dude, you're doing fucking incredible. You were killing it.
For sure.
But then I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's just what I'm doing. That's not good enough.
What's your resilience that you said it's finally paying off after all that time? You're getting all these opportunities, meeting people, going to the different shows. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a better way to say it, but I think they say you are your own worst critic or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure. So. It's definitely true. But yeah, it was like a self-realization to me. Maybe I am getting somewhere with this, and this is really cool. For sure. That they would think of me to do this opportunity, and the people enjoyed it, which was great. So
I
was like, okay, maybe we've arrived finally.
I like it.
No, that's awesome. But now we're going to finish up here shortly. But so after all your writing, after all your learning, deep thought, if you could leave these people here with one word of advice, what would you leave them with?
Oh, man. I would say never be afraid to take a chance on yourself. I'm sure you guys experience it with the podcast. It would be very easy to just come home and sit around every night. But
absolutely,
you guys do this podcast. You get all these crazy guests. I think if somebody can find something that they enjoy doing and just keep working at it like an hour a night for a year, you're going to be exponentially in a new place that next year.
I like it.
I'm a firm believer you can't work on something a little bit every day and not see progress. So
No.
I'd tell people to, don't be afraid to take risks, believe in yourself, and take a chance on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's good.
And let them know where they can find you. I know you said Instagram's the one hub, but also on Amazon and stuff. They can find your books. You want to let them know?
Yeah.
Yep. Over on Instagram, I am at author_Honeybrook, and there you can find links to all my books. They're all on Amazon. There are 5 of them, all just 99 cents.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you guys go get those and shit like that. So,
Oh, yeah. No.
I appreciate King Palm for powering us through this episode here with these
Absolutely.
amazing pre-rolled King Palms here. We had some strawberry shortcake and a pumpkin cream.
Yeah.
So those
They were
were
good.
pretty good. I liked
Enjoyed
them.
But yeah, thanks again, man, for coming out. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends.
Pass the blunt.
Pass a blunt, roll a J, pack a bowl, whatever you prefer, really, in your legal state, of course. And yeah, check out the merch shop. Thanks again to King Palm. And until next time.
Later.